and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We are on season number 4, episode 19. Tonight's show is a songs edition. We're going to be reviewing an album, talking a little music, concerts. Andy, how are you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Good. It's March 23rd, 2023. We're going to be talking a little Def Leppard today, Andy.
Yes.
So we're going to review an album and then talk some music after this, but we do have some good points on this. The album we're going to be discussing is Hysteria. Now, this was the 4th album by English rock band Def Leppard. Here, I'll bring it up. Let's take a gander. Everyone's familiar with this one for sure. It was huge. Yeah. This came out in 1987. 1987.
Key high school years.
Yes, I remember this distinctly because there was such a big rise coming up to this, a big promotion push. One of the local radio stations played this album in its entirety. I remember to get the blank tape out and record. So I had it before it actually came out. But this was some good stuff. We were just getting ready for our senior year in high school coming up?
My junior year, yep. You're older than I am.
Yes.
You're much older than I am.
And so it came out in August 1987 on Mercury Records, best-selling album to date for Def Leppard, selling over, I'm going to say this nice and slow, 20 million record copies. 20 million copies.
I'm responsible for 3 of those, because I burned through 2 tapes and had to get a third finally. So.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, I was fun. Yeah. Played the snot out of it in the car,
All the songs were good. It was a 62.5-minute cassette album, CD, 62 minutes. And so we mentioned, 20 million album sales worldwide, 12 million in the U.S. alone, and it spawned 7 hit singles. Now, Andy, we know before most albums, if they're successful, will they'll release 3 or 4 singles. A couple of those might go big, but 7 of these were hits.
Yeah, if you get 4 singles off an album, that's a really good album. That's really good. They had 7.
And it charted at number 1 in both the Billboard 200 and the UK albums chart. Now, Hysteria, this goes back to the day with Robert John Mutt Lang produced this, who was big at the time. But it was thought up, the album title was thought up by drummer Rick Allen, referring to his 1984 car accident, the amputation of his arm, and the ensuing worldwide media coverage surrounding it. Is where he said, let's use the name Hysteria because it was crazy at the end of 84, and then 85 through 86 was just a hysteria as far as the media coverage. And also, this is the last album to feature guitarist Steve Clark before his death. Now, this all got going because the band's previous album was Pyromania that came out in 1983. But Hysteria's creation took over 3 years and was plagued by delays, including the aftermath of drummer Rick Allen's car accident that cost him his left arm on New Year's Eve, 1984. Subsequent to the album's release, Def Leppard published a book titled Animal Instinct, The Def Leppard Story, written by Rolling Stone magazine's senior editor David Fricke, on the 3-year recording process of Hysteria and the tough times for the band that they endured during the 1980s. Now, originally, Andy, did you know this? I didn't know this, but Hysteria was really named Animal Instinct, and they later renamed it Hysteria.
I knew they had other working titles. I don't remember Animal Instinct, though. I didn't know that. Did not know that.
And so they released. Let's go to the tracks first of all, because most people listening to this are going to know most of these tracks in our audience. Number 1 song, "Women." Song 2, "Rocket." Song 3, "Animal." They've got 5 songs here on the 12 tracks that are single word titles.
Yeah.
Also, what I remember of this. So it goes "Women," "Rocket," "Animal," and then "Love Bites." And then "Pour Some Sugar on Me." Song track 6 is "Armageddon It." Song 7, "Gods of War." Underrated song. Song 8, Don't Shoot Shotgun. Song 9,
That's actually
Run.
my favorite song on the album.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, there's some of those, once again, we like the deeper tracks. Song
Yeah.
9, Run Riot. Song 10, Hysteria. Song 11, Excitable. And the final track is Love and Affection. So here's what they released. Here's the songs they released. They released 7 singles. Number 1, Animal, released in July of 1987, prior to the album coming out. And then Women, released a month later in August. Pour Some Sugar on Me in September. They took October off, and then November they released Hysteria. And so they took a few more months off, and March of 1988 was Armageddon It, and then Love Bites and Rocket. So now this genre, Andy, is considered glam metal, hard rock, and pop rock. Now this is very much more commercial than Def Leppard ever was. They were a hard rock, heavy metal band that just hard rock folks liked. But then this became very radio friendly and went very commercial. One of the reasons I ultimately kind of grew, I don't want to say sick of it, but I think I overplayed this album so many times that I ended up not liking a lot of the songs in the aftermath of the popular ones. Sorry,
Right.
Of the popular songs, it really it got out of control. We heard these everywhere we went over the years. Now, the concept of the album, the goal set out by Robert John Mutt Lange, was to be a hard rock version of Michael Jackson's Thriller, in that every track was a potential hit single. Now, I didn't know that either when we first were reviewing the Michael Jackson Thriller. He wanted every song on that album to be a potential hit, just like this. And so they therefore wrote all the songs with that concept in mind, disappointing heavy metal fans who clamored for a straight sequel to Pyromania. One song, Love Bites, was already mostly written in the vein of a country ballad by Mutt Lange when he brought it to the band's attention. And so it kind of went a little softer, the songs, but also has a traditional heavy metal sound on, back to their first couple of albums. Now, as with Pyromania, every song was recorded by every member in the studio separately instead of as a whole band. Did you know that?
It was what now? Say that again?
They recorded it separately. Each person of the band recorded their parts separately for this album in the studio. They put it all together in the studio later with the engineering, production, put it together. And, it's sounds good. I know Kiss did that several times themselves.
Lots of bands have gotten to that, yeah.
And they record the pieces separately, then, mix them together. Now, the smash single, Pour Some Sugar on Me, was the last song written, but quickly finished within 2 weeks. In sharp contrast, the final version of Animal took almost 3 full years to be developed, but not as successful as other singles, despite reaching number 19 in the Billboard charts. And so, interesting, Pour Some Sugar on Me takes 2 weeks to do. Animal takes 3 years, basically to solidify it. Let's see. The other thing I've got here, even in the liner notes, the band apologized for the long wait in between albums and promised to never force fans to wait that long again. However,
next album came out 5 years later.
However, later events, particularly the death of lead guitarist Steve Clark, delayed the very next album, Adrenalize, by 5 years. So here are the professionals here. Here's the members of the band. Once again, many know this, but, Joe Elliott is on vocals. It's one of the bands that use 2 guitars, Phil Collen and Steve Clark, both on guitars, Rick Savage on bass, and drummer Rick Allen. So, Andy, what else do you have on this album? I know this was a favorite of yours as well.
Yes. First of all, at the time, Joe Elliott, one of the best mullets of the 80s.
Oh, yes.
Gotta give him love for that one. And then for the video, this is the time, too, MTV was real hot. And bands, after a while, they had the album. Then about a year later or 2 years later, they have a video box, VHS tape come out of all their videos and other things off the tour and whatnot. The song "Pour Some Sugar on Me," if you look it up, your homework, Dan, look it up on YouTube. There's 2 versions of that video. One is the in-concert version, which we're all familiar with from MTV. They had one that was filmed in Europe that was kind of on the British MTV version, where they're in a building, and at the very end of it, the guys from Metallica are in it. So I kind of like that one a little better. So your homework.
Okay. No, I didn't know that either.
British version of the video, "Pour Some Sugar on Me" by Def Leppard.
Okay, I'll do my homework.
One
That's
after
good. That's
Def
fair enough.
Leppard, yes. But I got my screen share up there, Dan. If you could hook me over, I got some notes.
Here we go.
I got some stuff. I got stuff.
I knew you'd have some good one on good notes on this one.
Stephen Clark, very great guitarist. Still got people's listed one of the best guitarists of the '80s. Sadly, died way too young. I believe 30 years old. There is his girlfriend found him passed out on the couch. Yeah, way too young. Here we go. At the time of his death, Clark was on a 6-month leave of absence from Def Leppard. On Tuesday, the 8th of January, 1991, Clark was found dead on his couch by his girlfriend at the time. He was 30. Postmortem revealed that the cause of death was accidental due to a compression of the brain stem caused respiratory failure. This failure was caused by a lethal mixture of alcohol and prescription drugs. Postmortem found that his blood alcohol level was at 0.30, as well as the presence of morphine. No evidence of suicidal intent. I mean, that's just what he did. So it was like I'm going to take pills and drink and I'm going to die. This sucks. That was not Steve Clark. He had just built up a metabolism. Doing the research for this, Dan, at one time, Stephen Clark was reported to have a blood alcohol of 0.59. So, yeah, so it was 0.3 at his death. Tesla, who opened for Def Leppard on the Hysteria tour, recorded a tribute to Clark in the song with Song and Emotion to their friend Steve Clark.
Oh, yes.
And before joining Def Leppard in '78, he played cover songs with a small band, Electric Chicken, in Sheffield. That's where he met Pete Willis, who was the other original guitarist in Def Leppard.
Electric Chicken. I like it.
Yes. He spotted Clark reading a guitar book and asked, "Hey, do you play guitar?"
Great question.
Yeah. Hey, you read a guitar book. Do you play guitar? Nice icebreaker. He invited Clark to audition for his band. Steve Clark never showed. But Willis and singer Joe Elliott bumped into him at a Judas Priest gig. Willis reissued his invitation. Now, here's the part that blew me away. This is where you got to love Steve Clark. When he finally came down for the rehearsal room, he joined Def Leppard in January of '78. According to Elliott in Behind the Music, he auditioned for Def Leppard by playing all of Leonard Skinner's Freebird without accompaniment.
Okay, I did not know that.
Wow. So he was just Steve. And I think the thing I love about Steve Clark, he truly looked like when you watch him play, he was having fun. It wasn't a job for him. He totally looked like he was enjoying himself. So he was way too young. They still would have been just as successful with him. Nothing against Vivian Campbell, also a great guitarist, but Steve Clark, way too young, very, very talented. Stuff from our Facebook page. There's our little Facebook page logo. If you see us there, that's us. Like, share, subscribe. Warrants, Joey Allen. I call him Joe because I have a tough time calling a grown-ass man Joey. They're actually writing new stuff for Warrant right now. So I have not heard a lot of Warrant stuff since Janie Lane passed.
What about Europe's lead singer?
Yeah.
Joey Tempest.
Joey Tempest. He's okay because he's bigger than me. I think I could take Joey Allen, though. I really think I could take him out. But I guess this guy's sound is pretty close to Janie Lane, so they do sound good. Looking forward to some new Warrant stuff. At the Music Room this weekend, Joe Flip, who does ZZ Top and Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. So that would be an interesting show to see sometime. Some rock stars of Texas, some Texas Southern rock. Hairwall tomorrow night in Ottumwa, Iowa. And like I said on our Facebook post, if you go to the show in Ottumwa and you see Radar there, say hi. Radar from MASH was from Ottumwa. Little side bit there.
Oh, yes.
Gary Berghoff.
At the Bridgeview Center.
Yes. Nita Strauss, like we said before, she's back touring with Alice Cooper. While she was gone doing stuff with Debbie Lovato, she recorded her own stuff. So here's the turnaround. Her song featuring Alice Cooper. So she's got some new stuff out. Check it out. Winner Takes All on the YouTube. Check out Nita's stuff.
That's an album then, a full album?
Yep. Yeah, and her song with Alice Cooper, it's just a song, the single. Winner Take All featuring Alice Cooper.
Okay.
So there's some cool artwork there.
Yes.
For those of you that are just listening, you have to check it out. You'll see it on her YouTube page. Halfway there, a Bon Jovi tribute band playing this Saturday out in East Bethel at Route 65. Give them a check out. And speaking of earlier, Warrant is with Lita Ford here in Minnesota this weekend. Up at Black Bear Casino tomorrow, then at Treasure Island the next night. Like I said, the restraining order has been lifted with myself and Lita Ford, but I still can't make it. So
that's good to know.
Yeah, we cleared things up. We've mended ways. I don't know if we're still at the exchanging Christmas cards this year. We'll see, but we are getting better.
At that point, yes.
Yeah, we're not. I don't know if we're there yet, but we're cordial with each other now. We're cordial.
Keep us posted, though. That's good.
Yeah. I'll let you know at Christmas if I get a card from her or not. I'll see if she accepts my friend request on Facebook too.
Exactly.
That's all I got, Dan. Lots of stuff. Summer's coming. Spring is here. Outdoor shows will be starting up again pretty soon. The casinos with their outdoor venues will start having more stuff. Music festivals, things like that coming up.
Yeah, it won't take long here. The weather coming into spring and the outdoor stuff. I'm looking forward to that. The Canterbury Park, the amphitheater out there.
Yeah, they got some nice names showing up out there. Nice names.
And also, we'll have to
Night
follow.
Ranger out there.
We'll have to follow Pounders, the amphitheater or the stage at the Pounders Bar in Cologne. I spent a couple times out there, stops there along my snowmobiling ventures here this last winter, and that looks like a great venue as well.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back next week, everyone. Please submit your requests and ideas for future album reviews. But have a good week.
All right, see ya.